Good morning, everyone. I have to start by confessing that I owe you all an apology. It is 8:30 in the morning. Usually we would have this in our usual slot at 9 a.m. Despite trying to rejiggle things, it's a very hectic day, and I'm afraid I'm not able to be with you at 9 a.m. this morning. So therefore, we're starting slightly early, but you can always play catch up. It will be on Facebook, it will be on YouTube, etc. So today's learning is dedicated to memory of Leah Bas Yechezkel Bink, Chaya Bas Avram Alevi Flynn, Harav Yosef Dov. Let me just check, sorry. Devorah Bas Moshe Saida, Chana Bas Shlomo Grossman, Rafal Ben Shmuel King, Rafal David Ben Chaim Cohen Rosenberg, as well as the Yortzites, as well as those that are saying Kaddish in their year. Leah Bas Paivo, Harav Yaakov Tzvi Ben David Aryeh, Tzipi Bas Mordechai, Avram Ben David Slavin, Shlo Tzipora Begala Bas Reuben Baruch, Shalom Ben Elali, Beina Bas Paivo, From Shoshana Bas Yaakov Shmuel, Caleb Bela Bas Henech, Yirmiyahu Yechiel Ben Moshe Eliezer, and Sarah Malka Bas Ben Yomin. Good morning. And there are some early birds that are joining us. You're not meant to be here yet. I was expecting you to play catch up at 9 o'clock, but it's lovely that you're able to make it. So, good morning for those that are listening, and good afternoon for those that will be playing catch up. So, we were in the middle of learning and studying about the concept of Kiddush Hashem, sanctification of God's name. And let me just see if I can get it up on the screen whilst we are doing this. Bear with me 1 second. Yeah, okay. So there are two aspects to Kiddush Hashem. One is the fact that we are meant, the way that we as Jews are beholden to behave. And on the other hand is the effect and impact that it has on the world at large. So let me read you from section from future tense. You have to concentrate, but we'll try and cut through to the chase. Our destiny was to create a society that would honor the proposition that we are all created in the image and likeness of God. It would be a place in which freedom of some would not lead to the enslavement of others. Judaism is a code of self-governing society. We tend to forget this because Jews have lived in dispersion for over 2,000 years without sovereignty. And because modern Israel is a secular state, Judaism is a religion of redemption rather than salvation. It's about shared spaces of our collective lives, not an interior drama of the soul. Because Judaism is also the code of a society, it is also about the social virtues, righteousness, justice, loving kindness, and compassion. These structure the template of biblical law, which covers all aspects of life, society, and its economy, its welfare systems, its education, family life, employee-employee relations, the protection of the environment, and so on. In other words, pretty much, we have a cohesive, comprehensive structure which covers every aspect and facet of life. Judaism is overarching. It is able to guide us and direct us at every twist and turn in life. Okay? Now, that having been said, okay, so therefore, he goes on to say, and I'm trying to shorten it so that we can move on to the impact that Kiddush Hashem has had on the world at large, that be it agriculture or construction, medical or economic infrastructure, all have been developed in Israel in the spirit of the Torah. Okay? So that is point number one. Now, when we think about Israel, we think about the Jewish people, we often have quoted to us that with less than 0.25% of the world's population, yet we have had, I don't know how many, 40% or whatever it is of the, or 25% of the Nobel Prize winners, etc. In other words, that we have had a profound impact on the society around us in spite of the fact of the persecution and the small numbers of Jews that have always existed in this world. We've had a disproportionate influence on society, whichever society we have lived in. Let me just quote to you a few statements. Some of them I think you are all familiar with. So Rousseau, in The Social Contract, right? he was, of course, an influential political thinker that helped inspire the French Revolution. And he wrote as follows about the Jews. An astonishing and truly unique spectacle is to see an expatriated people who had neither place nor land for nearly 2,000 years, a people mingled with foreigners, no longer perhaps have a single descendant of the early races, a scattered people dispersed over the world, enslaved, persecuted, scorned by all nations, nonetheless preserving its characteristics. Listen to what he observes about us. We preserve our characteristics, its laws, its customs, its patriotic love of the early social union when all ties were seen to be broken. That's the idea of Aravus, that there's a collective responsibility and bond between us. The Jews provide us with an astonishing spectacle. The laws of Numa Solon are dead. The very much old laws of Moses are still alive. Athens, Sparta, Rome have perished and no longer have children left on earth. Zion, destroyed, has not lost its children. They mingle with all the nations and never merge with them. Okay? Listen to what a non-Jew observes about us and what he recognizes and is appreciative and values in us is the fact that we have remained separate, the fact that we have had our own code of moral compass and laws, and so on and so forth. And therefore, you know, there is a clear theme that comes through with this. Let me just read you one more statement. I'm going to skip through some of them and come back another day because we're short on time. And the one I want to read you is one that I was surprised that, where is it? Rabbi Sachs put in. Listen to this one by Andrew Marr. Everyone know who Andrew Marr is? So he is a journalist. He's on TV, and he's also he writes in the Observer. Or he wrote in the Observer. Okay, and listen to what he wrote. This is in 2000. The Jews have always had stories for the rest of us. They have had their Bible, one of their great imaginative works of the human spirit. Okay, we can discuss that another time. I don't think we describe it in the same way. They have been victim of the worst modernity can do, a mirror of Western madness. Above all, they have had the story of their culture and genetic survival from the Roman Empire to the 2000s, weaving and thriving in uncomprehending hostile European tribes. This story, their post-Bible, their epic bodies, not words, involved in intense competitive hardening of generations, which threw up in the end a blaze of individual geniuses in Europe and America. Outside painting, Morris dancing and rap music, it's hard to think of many areas of Western endeavor when Jews haven't been disproportionately successful. Well, I take offense to that, Andrew Marr. I'm surprised that you think that we haven't done rap dancing and rap music and rap dancing. I'm sure we'll find someone Jewish who's involved. For non-Jews who don't believe in a people being chosen by God, the lesson is that generations of people living on their wits and hard work outside the more comfortable mainstream certainties will see an Einstein's, Wittgenstein's, Trotsky's, and Sief's culture matters. The Jews really have been different. They have enriched the world and challenged it. So, be it Andrew Marr, we haven't done all the sources and we'll come back to them, or Thomas Cahill, be it Paul Johnson, be it Nicholas Berdyaev, or, for example, Mark Twain, which we're all familiar with, or Leo Tolstoy, everyone is grappling with the same problem, the Jewish phenomenon. Friends, the Jewish phenomenon is what the greatest minds have struggled to understand and to comprehend and to make any rational sense. How we have not managed just to survive, which is incomprehensible in itself, but how we have managed, despite all the persecution, to be able to be one of the most industrious, productive nations and individuals on the planet that have sanctified God's name. Being a Jew and going out there and contributing to society in the right way and identifying as being Jewish is your Kiddush Hashem. Now, Kiddush Hashem is much more than that. And one of the dangers is that this is all some people decide to define us as in terms of Kiddush Hashem. Kiddush Hashem is this, but it's much more than this. In other words, yes, we are ambassadors to the world and we want to make an impression and contribution to economics, to history, to sciences, and to medicine, and every other sphere of life. But being Jewish and making a Kiddush Hashem is something of a much higher order, even than this, despite the fact that this is certainly a notable contribution of the Jewish people. But don't see it only as this. Please God, we'll continue tomorrow, and you'll be able to see what a true Kiddush Hashem is, okay? How we are meant to live our lives. It's not enough for us to be highly successful in the outside world, okay? But it's certainly a start. So we're going to stop there, and we're going to carry on as we do every day. I apologize for those that are joining us late, but I have to leave in a couple of minutes. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He causes me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Even as I walk in the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You set a table before me in the presence of my adversaries. You anointed my head with oil, my cup overflows. May only goodness and kindness pursue me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord for the length of days. Adonai Lamim Zacho Es Nishmois Le'abas Five Rabbi Yaakov Tzvi Ben David Aryeh Tzvi Bat Mordechai Avram Ben David Slavin Tzvi Baruch Egelos Ben Baruch Shalom Ben Eleli Ben Abbas Five from Shoshana Bas Yaakov Shmuel Kela Ben Abbas Henech Yirmiyahu Ben Moshe Eliezer Samak Bas Ben Yomin Dover Abbas Moshe Saida Chana Bas Shlomo Grossman Rafal Ben Shmuel King Rafal David Ben Akohen Ben Chaim Akohen Rosenberg Shalachol Yilamam Began Aiden Temenu Kosam Lachim Balarachamim Yasirein Beseise Kanafaf Yolamim Viesos Chayis Nishmasamadina Nachlasam Vianuch B'Shalom Mishkavam Venomar Amen. Wish long life to all those that have your sight today or that are saying Kaddish. In particular, I'm sure you won't mind me singling out Jeffrey Grossman, who is seriously unwell in Barnet Hospital with COVID. A very critical condition now. We wish Jeffrey, we wish you a refuah shalema, b'soch shar chol Yisrael, and we will now make refuah shalema prayer. Misha be'ech abasein Romans, Rabbi Yaakov Moshe Aaron David Shlomo Yivarech Rapes HaChaylim, Babu Shanu Mispalim Babu Ram, Bizchat HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yimalei Rachum Yimaleihem Lachman Lefosam, Yishlach Refuah Shalem L'Shemaim L'Chol Rebim b'soch shar chol Yisrael. Refuah Sanefesh, Refuah Saguf, Hashavak Zmakarev, and Amar, Amen. Refuah Shlema to all those that are unwell. I want you to have a think over the next 24 hours. What does it mean, a Kiddush Hashem, sanctifying God's name? We mentioned about the contribution that Jews have made over the course of the millennia, etc., etc. But there is so much more. And can you have a sanctification of God's name if you are alone, if it's not in the public gaze? Is it only in the public gaze? Is it only about mitzvot? Is it not about mitzvot? Right? Is it only when it makes the newspapers? Let's think about these questions so that we know what's expected and asked of us. Wish you all well. Have a great day. And please God, we'll see you tonight where 4 doctors, you can get 4 opinions. You heard of a second opinion? Tonight you'll have a 4th opinion as we go through 4 doctors that will explain to us exactly about COVID and vaccine in a more detailed fashion and answer all your questions on Zoom.